Okay, now we're working this side. And we can use, for a common denominator, I didn't write it down here, I said, the common denominator would be x plus 2 times x squared minus 16. So we multiply numerator and denominator here by x squared minus 16. Here we multiply numerator and denominator by x plus 2. When we do, well, we clearly get x minus 3 times x squared minus 16 and x minus 4 times x plus 2. And that's always, each of those is divided by the same denominator, so we can combine the numerators and use the common denominator, and there we have it. Now, if you try to use that F word thing, you're dead. It doesn't apply. It usually doesn't apply to a multiplication of polynomials. It doesn't apply in this case. And it's because you have an x here, but you have an x squared here. And where if you have x here and x here, you're only going to end up with, well, down here, you're only going to end up with 3 terms. If you've got an x here and an x squared here, you're going to get 4 terms, four unlike terms. And you're not going to be able to combine anything. Okay. So, x minus 3 times x squared minus 16. This is the product I'm talking about. How do you do it? You do it using the distributive law. X times x squared minus 16 minus 3 times x squared minus 16. To that you add what you get here. X times x plus 2, negative 4 times x plus 2. Denominator stays the same. Well, it doesn't really. I mean, we're going to do the distributive law on the denominator as well. X times x squared minus 16, 2 times x squared minus 16. Well, we use the distributive law again. X times x squared minus 16 is x times x squared minus x times 16. Well, there we got it. X times x squared minus x times 16. No shortcuts here. We'll write out every term and be really careful. Actually, I'm violating that over here, but you'll see in a minute. Okay, and then minus 3 times x squared minus 16 is minus 3 times x squared. And then I'm going to say it's plus 3 times 16 because minus times a minus gives you a plus. Okay. Could have been complete and said minus negative 3 times negative 16, but I just used the fact that multiplying 2 negatives gives you a positive. Then I didn't really do this because it's the same as this over here. Okay? So I just went ahead and multiplied these, and I used the result I got over here where I see that this is x squared plus, maybe this isn't the same as what I had. It's x minus 4 times x plus 2. Never mind, it's not the same as this. Forget what I just said. I just multiplied this out. Okay. I promise you I didn't use that F word thing. Okay. So I just multiplied that out because we've already seen that 5 or 6 times. And you can verify that this is what you get. You've got to get an x squared here, a 2x here, a negative 4x, 2x and negative 4x gives you negative 2x. And negative 4 times 2 is negative 8, yeah. Almost looks like a plus 8. It was a negative, but there's kind of a smudge there. Okay. And then we do the same thing on the denominator. X times x squared, x times negative 16 or negative x times 16, 2 times x squared, and 2 times negative 16 or negative 2 times 16. Then x times x squared is x cubed, 16x is 16x, it's minus 16x. 3 times x squared is 3x squared. 3 times 16 is 48. And I've still got my x squared minus 2x plus 8. Strictly, I don't really need the parentheses around the x squared minus 2x plus 8. I'm just using them to show that this is the result, or to indicate that this is the result of all this. Okay, the result of multiplying this by this. Just to separate it from the result of multiplying these 2 factors. Okay? Okay, now, we have an x cubed. There are no other x cubes, so we just have plain old x cubed. Now, you know, let's observe. As I said before, we have 4 terms here, and none of them combined. It's because we had an x and an x squared. So that F word thing will never work in that case. At least except in maybe some special cases where some coefficients are 0. So, once more, we have an x cubed from here. On x squared, we have a negative 3x squared and an x squared. I don't know where I got negative 5x squared. Negative 3x squared and an x squared is negative 2x squared. Keep an eye on me, I'm terrible with clerical details. Negative 16x and negative 2x does give us negative 18x. And 48 and 8 is 56, except that's a minus 8 and somehow I wrote a plus 8 here, so that's wrong too. You know, you can get the numbers right. What we're really focused on is the process. No excuse, I shouldn't be making that mistake, but keep an eye on me because I do. And I don't like to read a previously written out solution. It just completely destroys the spontaneity of the process. So until I get even worse at this, I'm going to keep doing it as I do it. It's important for you to see it done. It's important for you to see how we look for errors, as long as I don't overdo it. Okay, and the denominator, you're going to have an x cubed from this. You're going to have a negative 16x, a 2x squared, and a negative 32. And we put those as traditional in order of decreasing powers of x. And I believe that's correct. Now at this stage, well, technically you need to factor this and see if there are any common factors so you can simplify it. But factoring cubic polynomials can be a little tricky, and I doubt that either one of these factors in any simple way.